national pastime at the moment. I have a little button called "Patriarchy is Killing Us." That's what it says on it. Anyway, this is a song about that phenomenon. And my oldest kid is 25 years old. She's 25, a girl, and so I've been changing diapers for 25 years. My youngest is 2 years old. We've hardly used any disposable diapers, and all of my various wives have worked, and at one time or another. And so I've been home with the kids, and that's what somebody said, "Whoa, what have you been doing all these years?" And changing diapers, and I had to marry a nurse midwife before I found out how babies were made. I always thought it was like incense and the moon and stuff like that, you know. I didn't really understand ovulation. And young boys should be really taught the connection between ovulation and child support. It's like a really important lesson in life, you know. Really, you know. And there's like a lot of men in this room who are laughing right now, but they're going like, "What is it?" You know, there's about 50% of the men in this room are grown, and they don't understand the connection between ovulation and child support. They don't get the joke. The women are all laughing. You know? Who's the joke on? I mean, what's funny about it? Joke's on Jerry Falwell. Anyway, this is called Fantasy. In the evening after dinner, I flip on my TV and I notice there's a frown where your smile used to be. Is it that you're growing a little tired of the game? Excuse me, but your program seems a little bit insane. No one wants to be trapped inside a fantasy. Some of us are growing very tired of the pain. Oh, how can it be? The dream is our misery. There are so many who must lose for us to gain. Giant steel structures, they tower to the sky. In phosphorescent madness, cars go whizzing by. And everywhere are billboards selling people by the pound. Sometimes all this luxury can start to bring you down. No one wants to be trapped inside a fantasy. Some of us are growing very tired of the pain. Oh, how can it be? The dream is our misery. There are so many who must lose for us to gain. Gods and goddesses inside palatial walls, waltzing at the masquerade, their masks begin to fall. The queen steps from her pedestal, it fouls the master plan. The doll can walk, the doll can talk, hey, can you understand? No one wants to be trapped inside a fantasy. Some of us are growing very tired of the game. Oh, how can it be? The dream is our misery. There are so many who must lose for us to gain.
You're listening to a live broadcast from Cafe Uniontown. Country Joe McDonald, live on the air at KMUN, Astoria, 91.9 FM.
Like People Magazine interviewed me a while back, 20th anniversary of Woodstock, and they interviewed me for a long time, sent it back to New York, and New York came back and said, I thought it was a lot funnier than that, you know. And so they replaced my little profile with a profile of H. Rap Brown, and if you get that joke, then you're really hip. But anyway, so I do have this lyrical side, and that was a lyrical song addressing the issue of sexism and the gender gap. Never use a generic male pronoun, in your life, folks, do me a favor. Do us all a favor. And so this is another song I wrote back we used to play in the All-Star Band in 1971 and 72. It's on the Paris Session album, which is not available any longer. But it's more in fitting of the Country Joe image that some of you have probably. And it's called Sexist Pig. And it got strange response then, and it'll probably get a little strange response tonight. Sunshine to his house, someone who knows how to sew and when to shut her mouth. He wants a little lady, make him homemade bread, wear lots of pretty clothes, give him a little head, another notch on your cock, and you think you're a man. Another notch on your cock. Trucking down the road with his low-life friends. He left his family home to make it if they can. He's always talking to his friends about his lovely kids. Well, he ain't been home in 13 months and still he thinks they're his. Another notch on your cock, and you think you're a man. Another notch. His tool is the revolution. Sexist, pig, sexist, pig. He's got balls, but that is all, and that ain't the solution. Sexist, pig, sexist. 'Cause he's a man, he thinks he can't have any woman. Sexist, pig, sexist. Find no peace of mind because he's anti-human. Sexist, big sexist. Another notch on your cock, and you think you're a man. Another notch on your cock. You got cum on the brain. Because she's just a chick. A man can always come out on top because he's got a prick. A guy needs a doll to make him feel like a man. But the doll can walk and the doll can talk, and she'll kill you if she can. Another notch on your cock, and you think you're a man. Another notch on your cock. Come on the brain. Well, I don't know if I can still be a spokesperson for Pepsi or not, but maybe. Times change and whatever. Well, I'm still in the mood here. I think I'll do one more song off that album, Paris Sessions, as it's called. And this song is called Moviola. It's a song about going to the movies. And I like to dedicate it tonight to Oliver Stone. I went to the picture show just to ease my mind. I sat down in the second row and everything was fine. Theater darkened, an image filled the screen. Well, my God, it was the same old shit. Hey, you know what I mean? It was Dirty Sam, the macho man, and his best friend Pete, beating on women and children all up and down the street. Then on the screen comes Romeo with beautiful Carol Lou. She says, oh no, Romeo, don't go. He says, I gotta do what I gotta do. Dirty Sam sent a message to Romeo, said, you better get out of town. Romeo tells Dirty Sam, I'm gonna stand my ground. Defeat Sam and their whole gang start loading up their rods. There's a 10-minute spot with a whole lot of shots of them drinking and playing cards. Carol Lou begins to tremble, tears run down her face. She begs old Romeo to give her just one last embrace. The colors start to intensify, the choir begins to sing. The camera zooms in on Carol's eyes and they start to do their thing. Then things really start to happen, just like in the movie ads. Women get raped and murdered, men get choked and stabbed. Carol gets fucked, Romeo throws up, Dirty Sam gives someone head. You see, piss and shit and cock and tit, and in the end, everyone's dead. Well, the audience really loved it. I felt like I was in a dream. They're saying, oh wow, man, far out, this is the heaviest thing I've ever seen. I'm sitting there trying to understand, it's a bit too much for my head. The lights go out and the screen fills up and they start to show it again. Well, I didn't want to see the movie again. I got up and left. I went right home, smoked a couple of joints and jumped right into bed. Next morning in the paper I read that the movie I went to see, voted by every critic as the movie of the century. Yeah. I went to the picture show just to ease my mind. I sat down in the second row, everything was fine. Feet are darkened, an image filled the screen. Oh my God, it was the same old shit. Hey, you know what I mean? Well, I gotta play this guitar. I brought it and everything. Okay, I'm gonna play this guitar. This slide guitar, this old slide guitar. I don't know much about it, but it's a very odd-shaped old slide guitar. And I'm gonna play a new instrumental, which is almost kind of finished, but sort of doesn't have a name or anything. Slide guitar. Astoria blues, maybe. Yeah. is another new blues. It's called Nothing Means Nothing. Sorrow in my empty home. Maybe I deserve it. I didn't do right. Can't stand myself. I believe I'll take my life. Maybe tomorrow brings some kind of change. Maybe my sorrow will all pass away. Maybe I'll wake up and it'll all be a dream. The truth is people shall never miss me. Nothing means nothing, that's plain to see. Shotgun in the closet keeps calling me while I leave a note for no one to read. Nothing but sorrow filling up my brain. Can't go on living, feeling this way. Maybe tomorrow be my burying day. Sad luck and trouble, my only friend. No matter what I do, it never changed. Maybe I deserve it, I didn't do right. Can't stand myself, I believe I'll take my life. Nothing means nothing, that's plain to see. Shotgun in the closet keeps calling me. Why leave a note for no one to read? Why leave a note for no one to read? Okay, thank you. Well, I did have a request for this song from Superstitious Blues album. It's called Clara Barton, and it is about Clara Barton, the founder of the American Red Cross. Never over 100 pounds, never more than 5 feet tall. And she was a Civil War nurse, not in the Florence Nightingale sense, but in the Dorothea Dix sense. Dorothea Dix had a policy in the Civil War for the Union side of appointing women to the sanitary service as nurses who were not young and attractive, quote unquote, because she was terribly afraid that the wounded and dying soldiers would have their prurient interest stirred. And these young women would take advantage of them in their bleeding condition. But Clara Barton used to work in the patent office in Washington, D.C. before she became a Dorothea Dix nurse and before she founded the American Red Cross. And when she would go to work in the patent office in Washington, D.C., she would pass by benches of loafers who sat there chewing tobacco and spitting tobacco spit in spittoons. They would spit on her long black dress they wore in those from chin to floor-length dresses they wore in those days. They spit tobacco juice on her because she was receiving the same wage as a man in the patent office at that time. And then later on they sent her to do her work at home and she received less a wage. And they would spit on her as she came home from work also. I don't know if that situation has changed too much. It was Clara Barton's idea, and hers alone, to write into the charter of the American Red Cross that the Red Cross would help in times of natural disaster. And up until that time, they had never helped in times of natural disaster. It's just assumed that the International Red Cross does that now, and they do. And that was Clara Barton's idea. And also her idea, King Lake said in his autobiography, his 7-volume set of the Crimean War, talked about the time when reformers and great thinkers of another generation's ideas are so absorbed by a future generation that are taken totally for granted that people are totally forgotten. And it was Clara Barton's idea that they should have a first aid kit at workplaces so that people's lives could be saved because they used to get wounded at work and hurt, and they would just bleed to death and die. So she invented the first aid kit. She invented life-saving courses that the Red Cross gives now, and swimming life-saving courses. That was quite a lot to do in one lifetime. A true American hero. And at the end of the Civil War, someone who had a prisoner at Andersonville had memorized the entire list and order of the graves in Andersonville prison, the Confederate prison, and recited Clara Barton, and she took it to the authorities and was responsible for people finding out that their POWs in Andersonville were actually dead and that their graves were there. Clara Barton. Every time in the world someone receives first aid, you can thank Clara Barton for the life that is saved. She lived out her life in a world ruled by men. Every time they knocked her down, she got back up again. Clara Barton. Civil War veterans with tears in their eyes told how she braved the battle just to save their lives. She never ran in the shot and the shell, bringing aid and comfort in the midst of hell. And even then, at the war's very end, when the prisoners were lost and without friends, she helped families to find those that they loved. A professional angel sent from up above. Thank the Lord for Clara Barton, and long live her name. told how she'd brave the battle just to save their lives. She never ran from the shot and the shell, bringing aid and comfort in the midst of hell. And even then, at the war's very end, when the prisoners were lost and without friends, she helped families get back those that they loved. A professional angel sent from up above. Thank the Lord for Clara Barton and a long-living name. The American Red Cross is her claim to fame. When you see a Red Cross worker in a time of flood or war, take a moment to remember and thank the Lord for Clara Barton. Thank you. Well, I think I'm gonna do. I'll do one more song and I'm out of here. This is a song I wrote for Greenpeace Foundation back in 1975. It's called "Save the Whales." And the whales aren't saved yet. The situation is rather grave in some areas, actually. You know, the thing was, I didn't see Free Willy. I refuse to see Free Willy because I really do believe that that these whales captured in Puget Sound, most of them, should be returned to Puget Sound. And you know, whales have been on this planet for like 15 million years, and we've been on this planet for with their brain size the way it is, we've been on this planet for about 200,000 years with this brain size the way it is. And the San Diego SeaWorld famous orca has had 10 miscarriages in captivity, and they still refuse to release her into. We can imagine what it's like if you had Puget Sound and the Pacific Ocean to swim in, or you had the tank at Marine World, Africa, USA. Which would you pick, folks? But the thing I thought about Free Willy that was really raw was that the whale got no credit in the titles, and I just thought that was really just something, you know. My 5-year-old saw the movie and loved it, and other people saw it, but I don't know what whale they used, but they did definitely use a captured orca for that movie and gave it no credit. It didn't say starring Shamu, or it said starring person. Anyway, it's called Save the Whales.
First, when the film was over with, Willie, who they filmed, they did not free anyways.
Oh yeah, right. Willie, whether Willie was a Willie or whatever.
He's still a captain.
Willie went back to
The cage.
back to the 3-ring circus in wherever it was. That's America. When my grandpa was a boy, he went down to the general store, saw a picture book of a whale shooting its spout and flashing its tail. Then he got a sailor's dream, cruising around the salty sea, joining up with a fishing crew to go and get a whale or two. Tell me what kind of men are these that sail upon the salty seas, are they in the rigging in the afternoon, swimming to death in Shark and Harbor? Hooray, up she rises, hooray, up she rises, hooray, up she rises early in the morning. Shanghai by the light of the moon, put out from Boston in the middle of June, and after 6 months out at sea, it's nothing but death and misery. Set off on a 3-year cruise, Union ship and a Union. After 6 months you begin to see whaling's not what it used to be. Modern ship and a modern crew with sonar scopes, exploding off with a mechanical boat. Made out of steel, a floating machine built to kill all the whales. Hooray, up she rises, but death and misery. Set off on a 3-year cruise, a Union ship and a Union crew. After 6 months she began to see whaling's not what it used to be. A modern ship and a modern crew with sonar scopes and exploding harpoons and a mechanical boat made out of steel, floating machine built to kill all the whales. Hooray, up she rises, hooray, up she rises, hooray, up she rises early in the morning. Hooray, up she rises, hooray, up she rises, hooray, up she rises early. Help me out, clap your hands, come on, clap, clap, clap. Sing the chorus together. Hooray up she rises, hooray up she rises, hooray up she rises. We're right in the money, here we go. Hooray up she rises, hooray up she rises, hooray up she rises, early in the morning. Hooray up she rises, hooray up she rises, hooray up she rises. Try it by yourselves, come on. Hooray up she rises. You got it, come on. Don't stop, come on. A lot of old sailors out there, I can tell that. Flashing its tail, and he got a sailor's dream, cruising it around in the salty sea, joining up with a fishing crew to go and get a whale or two. Tell me what kind of men are these that sail upon the salty seas? I'm in the rigging and afternoon, swabbing it down and sharking off them. Hooray, up she rises, hooray, up she rises, hooray, up she rises, early in the morning. She rises, hooray, up she rises, hooray, up she rises, early. One more time. Hooray, up she rises, hooray, up she rises, hooray, up she rises, early in the morning. Save the whales, save the earth, save ourselves.
We're listening to live from Cafe Uniontown in Astoria, Country Joe McDonald, of your Country Joe and the Fish, and this is KMUN 91.9 FM. It is 10 o'clock. The following program contains language which may be considered offensive. We apologize for any language that has been aired in the past half hour. KMUN urges you to exercise your choice of whether or not to listen to this program. The program will last approximately another half an hour. If you tune away, we urge you to rejoin our program after this time.
This club, and that's a great thing. And I hope it's still here in 6 months or so. Come back and play again. Who knows? Well, I still have some T-shirts and CDs and some copies of my dad's book. If you want to see me after the show, and if you finally remembered that thing you wanted to tell me about the 60s, you can tell me then. If you don't forget between now and then. Let's see. Sweet Martha Lorraine? Yeah, one of those a great crop of misogynistic love songs. And if you understand that word, then you're a real child of the 60s. From the 60s, you know, we were so foolish in those days as hippie men, and we thought women were responsible for all of
all of our problems, you know. Sweet Lorraine is one of those type songs. And we're so stupid, you know, because in the 70s we discovered that the Republicans were responsible for all of our problems. Yeah. But actually that was really stupid too, because in the 80s we finally discovered that Republican women were responsible for all of our problems. And, so here's a little taste of not so sweet Martha Lorraine. you very much. Thank you. Thank you very much. Thank you. If the radio station is still with us, and I hope some of the kids didn't turn in from the children's hour and continue along, whatever. Thank the radio station for broadcasting this live, and it's a great thing that you've had a radio station so far here, and I hope Jesse Helms wasn't listening tonight. But anyway, the general manager will take care of it in the morning anyway. He survived Vietnam. I'm sure he can survive this. So, good night, folks.
Hi there, Susie.
Good evening, Pierce.
How you doing up there at the station?
Well, we're prepared to play some more music up here.
Oh, you are good, because we're just about all done down here, as you probably heard.
No encore, eh?
Yeah, that last one actually was an encore.
Oh, I couldn't tell.
Sweet Lorraine. He got down off the stage and then was called back up by the applause. So,
Well, tell him thanks for Sweet Lorraine. Tell him I've got a daughter named Lorraine, and I can appreciate that.
Right. Yeah, I will tell him that. And he played it on an old 1930s Martin Gov't 17 guitar, I can tell you that much.
That's good. I'm glad to tell me more that you can tell me about. What about that slide guitar he played? He wouldn't tell us much about that.
It's kind of a funky looking thing, you know, with some sort of a hardwood top, no frets on it, just, you know, line markers, one of those. And it has a very interesting bridge where right behind the bridge it actually angles down, and there must be some extra support or something there, but there's like a recessed area in the guitar right behind the bridge, which is quite uncommon.
Well, thank you, Pierce, for being down to the Cafe Uniontown tonight.
Yeah, really great crowd. Everybody seemed to have a fine time, and you know, we've enjoyed broadcasting it here. I hope you didn't get too much flack up there at the station.
Well, Pierce, I didn't get a chance to give an ID at 9 o'clock, and it's probably a good thing. But we were sitting tight here and hoping for the best, doing what we could do, best we could.
All right.
Thank you.
Yeah, thank you.
Are you coming over here to the station to do some programming after that?
Well, I got to roll up the gear here.
Yeah. Okay, well.
It'll be a little while, so I'm depending on you to cover that.
Okay, thanks. I'll take it from here. Thanks.
Okay, thanks again.
Good night.
Bye.
You've been listening to a live broadcast at Cafe Uniontown with Country Joe McDonald of Berkeley, California, and once upon a time, and back in the late 60s, with Country Joe and the Fish, singing some of his older tunes that he was famous for at those times, and some of his newer tunes in the first set, which we're not broadcasting tonight at 7 p.m. He started out with a lot of his newest music, current compositions, which were really quite prosaic and lovely, and it's a shame we didn't get a chance to air those earlier. However, we did what we could do, and we apologize if we offended anybody with the strong language chosen tonight by the performer. And we want to say again that the opinions expressed and the language expressed in this program are those of the artist, do not necessarily reflect those of other KMUN programs.